I have an art book I'd like to tell you a little about, and here it is. It's called Movements in Art Since 1945 by Edward Lucie-Smith. Many non-fiction genres sometimes find it difficult to navigate between two audiences, the rank neophytes who need a basic grounding in the topic in hand, and those who already have a thorough knowledge of those fundamentals and are looking for something a little bit more specific. It's those of us who are in the middle who sometimes have difficulty finding the right book for them. Edward Lucie-Smith provides some of those big overarching ideas that are essential for those building on the basics, but the sheer number of painters and sculptors that he throws at the reader is a little disorienting, especially when you're still trying to discern what ties people like Morris Louis, Frank Stella, and Helen Frankenthaler all under the category of what he calls post-painterly abstraction. Maybe it's just my compulsion to over-categorize and draw connections between all the artists that sort of detracted from the overall success of the book for me. The introduction to the book was really promising, and it draws a lot of lines of continuity between the art of pre- and post-World War II. Lucie-Smith argues, for example, that whereas it's often thought that modernism came to some sort of end not long after this time, the techniques, aesthetics, and materials used to make the art never really changed, and therefore this art remained in many ways after World War II modernist. The first few pages of each chapter also give some great intellectual background to the major movements, like abstract expressionism, post-painterly abstraction, op art, pop art, and photorealism. But after this, the reader is just met with page after page of artists who appear and then just as quickly disappear, never to be heard from or seen from again, with usually just one painting or one sculpture to represent an entire artist's body of work. Well-known artists like the sculptor Henry Moore and Frank Stella, these are giants in the art world, get 2 photographic plates, and no one gets more than that. Quickly afterward, I sort of get lost in this welter of names with which I was barely familiar, or maybe not even familiar at all. Thankfully, I had some grounding in who Henry Moore and Frank Stella were, but there were many who I didn't know at all. And what I appreciated most about the book was that I was introduced to a lot of those names that I didn't know before, and now I know to keep an eye out for them if I just see them in another book or maybe a museum. It was only $1 at a library book sale, so no big loss. Movements in Art Since 1945 by Edward Lucie-Smith.